And I would almost bet, Adi, this is not intentional. No, I really don't believe this is intentional at all. But I also believe when it comes to this white and the gold trim from Usyk, I believe it has something to do with the Bible. I believe it's a religious thing, and I believe like that has been a lot of his driven motivation, his belief in Jesus Christ. And not just that, when he came here, the first thing he did was go to church, and he's been saying it the whole time during this whole promo.
You know, there's something, I've been lucky enough to have sat down with Rico a few times now in the lead up to this fight. When he talks, he makes you believe him. He speaks with such assuredness, such authority, where obviously, look, he's a big underdog, but you believe that something crazy could happen because of the way he talks.
Well, there is mental power there, and let's not forget he has displayed that. 12 years glory champion, defeating opponents after another, facing adversity, overcoming adversity, and yeah, that kind of creates confidence, right? So he speaks with confidence. I think that's what's resonating.
And ultimately, Malik, he gets kicked in the face. I mean, this guy is used to knees and kicks. I mean, there's no fear factor of Rico. Rico's coming in there, as he says, an undefeated, long-reigning champion. He's coming in there to do some damage.
Yes, and one thing you just said, Adi, that make a lot of sense. He get kicked in the face a lot, right? And just being a kickboxer, so you'll say, well, he should be able to handle a punch. But the punches that come from Oleksandr Usyk are the punches you can't see. He hit you with the blindsided shot. So yeah, Rico may have seen a bunch of kicks, a bunch of whole different punches, but he's never seen nothing that's going to be coming from the direction of shots the way how Oleksandr Usyk throw punches.
This is very different for Rico, I'm guessing, Alistair. For his last 10 years, he walks into the ring in kickboxing as a favorite. He goes in there and we expect him to win. This will be the first time in a long time he's walking into a ring and nobody here expects him to win.
And that can be his beneficial factor. Yeah. That can work out for him.
The beautiful country of Egypt already brings so much history with it, and then being so close to the pyramids that have been here for thousands of years, and now we're in 2026 and still Egypt is writing history, and me and Oleksandr are a small part of that history with us headlining this main event on this card. So that's why I say I feel so thankful. And thank you to His Excellency and the whole organization. Of course, thank you to Oleksandr Usyk for accepting this challenge. So, like I said, I feel blessed. I'm excited. I put everything I have into this. So I can't wait for Saturday night. So, like I said, I feel blessed. I'm excited. I put everything I have into this. So I can't wait for Saturday night.
And you've said in the build-up as well, Rico, look, let's talk about the similarities with yourself and Usyk as great champions, rather than the differences. You're two gentlemen, it's been classy in the build-up, but what do you respect deep down about the man you're sharing the ring with as a character and a fighter?
No, 100%. I think just in general, if we look at the world, we are more looking at what makes you different from me.
Listen, I respect all my rivals because I know how it's. Because who training boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, you know, fights, it's amazing guys and the crazy guys. Yes, I respect all my rivals, but it's hard sport, bro. You training boxing?
I had one spar and that was it. So no.
Please, go try one training, one round, the real sparring.
I'll try.
Yes.
I'll try.
I respect all my rivals, bro.
Yeah. I need to look after my nose.
Don't worry.
I'll be out of a job.
Protect, caps, no problem.
Thank you, Oleksandr.
Come my camp.
Can I, yeah?
So, of course.
Okay, no problem. I'll take you up on that offer. Thank you.
I have no idea, you know, how many rounds this is fight. I'm not set if 12 rounds, it's normal, but I don't know. When I have chance, I do it.
For you, Rico, I know you've seen this so many times in your mind, the fire and your motivation you spoke about all week. How do you believe you win this fight on Saturday? What's the best way for you to beat Oleksandr Usyk on Saturday?
For me, the first objective is to win. And how we're going to win, we'll see. If it's a knockout, it's a knockout. If it's a decision, it's a decision. So, and if it would come to a decision and I get the win, wow.
Bring something that you haven't seen before? Do you believe he can bring something that you possibly haven't seen before in a boxing ring? What are the big dangers?
Now it's only words. This is press conference and we speak a lot of, but my language will be in ring, you know. Maybe it's possible, maybe it's not. We'll see. It's God's will.
At the end of the day, the most important part that I'll finish with is, what's his chances? What's Verhoeven's chances? I think slim and none, to be honest. I looked at film on him, and yeah, he's big. He's 6'6", 270.
Opinions and people.
Yeah, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff that'll you off and take from you. Do you ever watch like fighters' YouTube channels?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Have you seen mine?
I have seen yours.
Oh, okay, cool. You like it?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. It kind of inspired by you a little bit. I remember you saying in the past, like, oh, you should start a podcast. I was like, maybe not yet, but how about a YouTube channel? So,
people love behind the scenes stuff. They really do. They love to see people training in particular.
Yeah.
You know, I spent a lot of time watching Usyk training before this last Dubois fight.
Yeah. Crazy. I saw something the other day. It was like,
the boxing world erupted with final predictions as Oleksandr Usyk prepared to face kickboxing legend Rico Verhoeven in a controversial crossover super fight. It all began when Oleksandr Usyk proudly described himself as highly disciplined, crediting his father's strict upbringing for building the mentality behind his success.
My father every time prepare me, yeah. You must do school, you must do running, you must do training. Every time you must do clean your shoes, clean your t-shirt, your sofa заправлять.
Make the sofa.
Make your sofa every time, you know. Складати. Складати речі.
Sort out clothes.
Sort out, yeah, every time. But what young I grow, my father every time they speak. But then when I was start training football, judo, wrestling, boxing, it helped me.
Firing back immediately, Rico Verhoeven brushed aside Oleksandr Usyk's accomplishments, insisting that despite everything achieved in boxing, Usyk was still human inside the ring.
To fight someone like Oleksandr Usyk, like, do you feel comparisons? Or?
No, like you said, I've fought the very best within my own sport, and eventually it all comes down to the same thing as a man with 2 arms and 2 legs. Yeah. So for me, is it luckily? I don't know. He keeps his legs on the ground this time. Yeah. So it's just arms, but that's what it is. He's just a man, and a man that's really good in his profession, but it's the same here. Yeah.
Unshaken by those comments, Oleksandr Usyk made it clear that pressure and fear played no role in his mentality, keeping his entire focus locked on preparation for the fight.
Do you feel the pressure of having so much to lose in a fight like this?
Дивіться, ви б'єтеся з Ріко, який бився в боксі тільки 1 раз, і викладаєте всі свої пояси. Наскільки ви відчуваєте напруження від цього?
Brother, I not feel pressure because I training. I not think about this. Yeah. This is for me important. It's my training camp and fight. You know, I like belts. I like all my belts. Thank you, all organization. But for me. My road is a fight.
Matching that energy, Rico Verhoeven welcomed every prediction and debate surrounding the upcoming match, insisting that he enjoyed the drama.
I don't really go or think about like, oh, I'm gonna knock him out, it's gonna be 12 rounds, it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that. It's just like, I'm just enjoying myself. That's the most important thing. I'm really enjoying myself. The whole process, everything that's happening, all the media around it, all the attention, all the opinions, the positive opinions, the negative opinions. I love it. I love it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Brushing aside the hype, Timothy Bradley Jr. still backed Oleksandr Usyk to control Rico Verhoeven comfortably over 12 rounds, despite the attention surrounding the crossover matchup.
12 rounds for the championship of the world. Do you understand that? 12 rounds. This man ain't never been 12 rounds. You know, Rico ain't never been 12 rounds. You know, I'm dumbfounded by it, but I know this is the nature of our sport. But I got Usyk. You know, I don't see anything special in Rico. He's a hell of a kickboxer. He probably can take a hell of a punch because he's used to getting kicked upside the damn head. So he can probably take a hell of a punch, but I see Usyk playing with him. You know, is Rico a type of fighter that you want to take lightly?
Explaining his prediction, Teddy Atlas acknowledged Rico Verhoeven carried size and a dangerous right hand, but still expected Oleksandr Usyk versatility and ring IQ to completely control the fight.
This guy, as I said, he doesn't have that background. He stands straight up. He's had 76 fights. He's won 66. He's got 26 knockouts. He's not a huge puncher. You know, his best punch is the right hand. That can be effective against the southpaw. Usyk's a southpaw. That can be the southpaw killer. I get it. It's not going to be. Again, Usyk's too versatile, too good for him. His defense, his offense. I think it's going to come down to where Usyk, you know, it's up to him. If he wants to work with him and he wants to carry him, I don't know that anything that there was any agreement to that. I have no idea of that.
Doubling down on Usyk's greatness, Derek Chisora described Oleksandr Usyk as a rare heavyweight whose boxing skill, movement, and ring IQ separated him from almost every fighter of the modern era.
Everybody gets it wrong. You don't box this guy. It's like, how can I explain it to you in a way you understand? We can't box him.
He's just too good.
He's just unbelievable great. Yeah, forget good, he's amazing. Yeah, he's great, he's amazing. He's like the white Muhammad Ali. He might not talk like Muhammad Ali, but he is the Muhammad Ali of the last generation. You understand? We have to give him the credit where it's due. Yeah. He is that guy.
Looking at the fight more as a spectacle, Mike Coppinger understood why many around boxing accepted Oleksandr Usyk taking a crossover event against Rico Verhoeven after already dominating the heavyweight division.
Yeah, and it was originally looking like it was going to be Joshua and Verhoeven. And that was before Joshua fought Jake Paul and decided he didn't want to do another training camp so soon after. This is even before, you know, he had that tragic car accident. But look, I think it's interesting, and I obviously, Max, as you like to say, we know who we work for, right? But this is a spectacle. And Usyk, like Chris said, if anybody deserves a fight where they don't have to fight the very best, it's Usyk. He's going to take a fun fight. This isn't a wrestler. He's fighting a guy that knows how to stand up. No one's suggesting that Usyk's going to lose this fight. But Usyk has effectively cleaned out the heavyweight division. You know, obviously there's a Guy Caballel there who I'm a fan of, and Fabio Wardley, but there's always going to be new guys that come around.
Discussing the crossover matchup, Richard Torres Jr. still leaned toward Oleksandr Usyk because boxing and kickboxing demanded completely different instincts, timing, and movement, despite heavyweight boxing always carrying a puncher's chance.
You know, I think that when you get these different martial arts sports, they're different sports, and intuitively they're different, and so I am very highly favoring Usyk in this side. But again, because it's a heavyweight division fight, you can never count anybody out, you know. So there's still a puncher's chance, but it's very hard for me not to side with the best in boxing in a boxing match.
How do you process that as a young fighter coming through with your pedigree and you're making moves now? How do you process that though, where you got a guy coming in from a different discipline and now he gets given the opportunity to fight for that WBC title? How do you process that as a young fighter? How do you see that?
Yeah, I think that it's good for boxing.
Looking at Usyk's influence on the division, Richard Torres Jr. credited Oleksandr Usyk for helping smaller heavyweights regain momentum through movement, pressure, conditioning, and relentless fighting spirit.
Yeah, no, he's definitely been a role model to me as well. And Oleksandr Usyk being a smaller heavyweight, a lefty as well, being able to move and maintain the consistency and pressure, he's somebody that I look up to and somebody that I would love to be able to share the ring with one day. But he really has knocked down the door for a lot of these smaller heavyweights, and I feel like that's another big shift as well, is that we're changing the guard not only to those big 6'8", 6'9" guys anymore, but we're getting those fast little guys back in there that are having those 80s style of punching and tenacity and just just grit, you know?
Focusing on the physical aspect, Chris Arreola pointed toward Rico Verhoeven's size, durability, and combat experience as factors that at least made the fight interesting. Arreola nevertheless still expected Oleksandr Usyk's skill level to end the matchup within only a few rounds.
You fought at the highest level in the heavyweight division, Chris. What are your thoughts about this?
First of all, you can't teach size. You can't teach 6'5", 270. You can't teach that, all right? Second of all, whether it's kickboxing or boxing, he still has a pedigree of fighting. He knows what it's like to get hit. And those kicks ain't no joke. I'd rather get punched than kicked.
Right.
So he must have a good chin or a good body work. So I'm looking forward just to see what Usyk could do against a lesser opponent. He probably should end up within 2 to 3 rounds.
Being honest, Hamza Shiraz saw the boxing gap between Oleksandr Usyk and Rico Verhoeven as simply too large to overcome. Shiraz nevertheless acknowledged that Verhoeven still backed himself completely, especially with such a massive payday attached to the fight.
Listen, I think he's going to get absolutely ironed out. That's the truth, but I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you're fighting Oleksandr Usyk, you know what I mean? Someone who's beat Joshua, beat Fury, not only once, but twice. And it's too much of an ask, you know what I mean? He has got a puncher's chance, we all have, but whether that chance will actually come to fruition, I don't really think it will.
I mean, at the end of the day, God loves a trier, and he absolutely backs himself to cause a major upset. But judging from what you've just said, Hamza, no chance at all.
Listen, if I was getting paid what he was getting paid, I'd be backing myself as well. You know what I mean?
Giving his take on the stylistic side, Simon Jordan brought up how fighters crossing over from disciplines such as kickboxing or taekwondo could create awkward timing and unusual movement patterns inside a boxing ring. Jordan also admitted there might be some truth behind Rico Verhoeven bringing a completely different rhythm that traditional boxers rarely face.
He actually says he'll knock him out.
Well, the interesting thing was he talked about the fact that when you come from a different discipline, and specifically kickboxing or taekwondo or those other sports, they don't know where the punches are coming from. They don't see the footwork because they've not seen it before. And interestingly, I was talking to Josh Taylor yesterday on Talk Boxing, who originated in taekwondo, and he was saying when he went into boxing and started sparring some of the good fighters, because of the shape and positions that he took as a result of his taekwondo brief background, it was a real thing. Because, you know, I was sort of looking at him yesterday going, you're going to get knocked into next week by Usyk. I mean, he's very confident and very charismatic to be around. But he also, there might be some resonance in the idea that it's a different ball game.
You didn't upset him at all, did you? Yesterday?
Turning toward the title controversy, Paul Smith understood why many fighters felt frustrated seeing Rico Verhoeven receive a WBC title opportunity despite limited boxing experience. Smith nevertheless accepted that Oleksandr Usyk earned the right to take an easier fight, just not with a championship belt attached to it.
Boxing doesn't sort of fail to surprise me nowadays, and it's probably always been the case. It's one of them things where people are complaining about the fact that he's fighting for the WBC title. I totally agree. I don't think he should be for any belt. Obviously, he's had literally, you know, been a kickboxer for a long time and not really done much in boxing at all to warrant a shot at Oleksandr Usyk when there's a queue so big. And
Indeed.
You know what I mean? And that's the most important thing. The people who are sitting waiting for their shot in line are going to be fuming over this. Some would say, to counter that argument, Usyk's probably earned the right to have an easier one after what he's done, and I do agree with that also, but I think just have that easy one and leave the belts.
Pushing back against the matchup itself, David Allen believed Oleksandr Usyk should vacate the belts before taking crossover fights against names such as Rico Verhoeven. Allen also respected Verhoeven's kickboxing legacy while still viewing a real boxing match with Usyk as a complete mismatch at heavyweight level.
Yeah and no, I guess. Like Usyk, we all say he deserves to go and do what he wants, but go and vacate all your belts. Go and let Caballel and Wardley and Dubois and all the rest of them fight for the belts. And if you want to go and do these exhibitions, go and do them.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested in. I like Rico Verhoeven, sparred him, know him, nice fella, very good kickboxer, one of the best of all time. But he's not a boxer. If he wants to fight,
can he box?
Yeah, he can box. He's a very good boxer, but he shouldn't be boxing the best heavyweight in the world. If he wants to do it as an exhibition, go and do it. I'm not interested in Usyk Verhoeven, just for the simple fact it's a mismatch.
Reflecting on the result, Hasim Rahman placed Oleksandr Usyk among heavyweight boxing's all-time greats after another dominant performance at championship level. Rahman also struggled to name many fighters from any era whose resume and accomplishments could genuinely compare with Usyk's career.
I didn't think it was, I thought it was 8-4. You know, I thought Usyk did what Usyk does, you know, and won the fight clean, and went on to show why he's one of the greatest heavyweight champions ever. I put him in that best, greatest of all times category.
So you believe Usyk is an all-time great, like top 5 heavyweights of all time?
I mean, based on statistics and what he's done, I don't see nobody who match him.
Expanding on Usyk's legacy, Hasim Rahman brought up how rarely an Olympic heavyweight gold medalist successfully moved up and defeated naturally bigger super heavyweights at the professional level. For Rahman, Oleksandr Usyk accomplished things heavyweight boxing had almost never witnessed before, yet still remained underappreciated in all-time debates.
You know, in the Olympics, #1, you know, and it's not very often when the super heavyweight and the heavyweight gold medalists fight each other in the pros. You know, and if they do, it's pretty much the super heavyweight wins. This man was the heavyweight gold medalist, came up to super heavyweight in the pros, and after he cleaned out the cruiserweight division and came out and beat the super heavyweight gold medalist. So that's things that Usyk has done has never been done. And I don't really think people giving him the credit that he deserves. You know, he's got to be in that GOAT conversation.
Speaking from a heavyweight champion's mindset, Evander Holyfield believed Oleksandr Usyk separated himself from many elite fighters through relentless discipline and preparation. Holyfield also placed Usyk firmly among heavyweight boxing's all-time greats because of the mentality and consistency he carried into every championship fight.
These are two good fighters, but one of the things you have to know about Usyk, he's always going to be in shape. He rather die than lose. So he gonna always give his all, which is the big difference. And the big difference is everybody should have that attitude. And me being the only 4-time heavyweight champ of the world, my attitude was that. My attitude was like, I'm not sleeping on nobody. Anything happen, because if they beat me, they beat me. And it ain't gonna be because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Yeah.
Looking at the growing trend inside combat sports, Luke Thomas argued that many of the biggest crossover fights carried more spectacle than genuine competitive value. Thomas also pointed toward Oleksandr Usyk against Rico Verhoeven as another example where mainstream attention outweighed the actual significance to boxing's heavyweight division.
Generally speaking, the least amount of relevancy. Now, I understand, for example, Usyk's WBC belt is up for grabs, but it's not like anyone really thinks that Verhoeven's got a really good shot, so it's not like that really, it doesn't matter, yes, of course, but it's not really, like, it doesn't have, you know, deep significance for boxing's heavyweight division, WBC or otherwise. In a similar way, yeah, did Pacquiao have a draw, for example, with Mario Barrios recently? Yes, but Barrios just got completely wiped out by Ryan Garcia. And if Pacquiao can't even beat a guy like Barrios, you know, this idea that, like, could he be in another title fight? Of course. Hello, they're giving Rico Verhoeven title fights. Again, phenomenal athlete, but in boxing is just kind of silly.
Furthermore, Thomas questioned why both boxing and MMA still lean so heavily on aging stars, spectacle matchups, and nostalgia-driven events despite constantly promoting themselves as healthier sports. For Thomas, the biggest headlines now revolved more around crossover attention and payday attractions than true elite competition.
People are like, you know, oh, look how much healthier MMA is than boxing. It's got architecture, all this money is coming in, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, why do they both have the same problems then? I mean, boxing is in worse shape than MMA. Certainly, I agree with that, but both have a star power problem, a significant star power problem, if this is the direction that they're going in the end. The MMA fighters in the MMA fight have been off a collective 27 years. The boxers in the Netflix fight are both pushing 50, and then the boxers in the other fight, one of them has only got one boxing fight, is crossing over from another sport, and it's just a payday for the other guy who's nearly 40 years of age. These are the bigger things that are happening.
Giving his blunt assessment of the matchup, Shane McGuigan stressed that a kickboxer stepping into the ring against a master-level boxer faced an enormous gap in timing, ring IQ, and overall boxing experience. McGuigan ultimately viewed the stylistic difference as far too wide for the fight to remain competitive.
Yeah, just your thoughts and feelings on that fight.
Yeah, I feel like there's levels to this game. As a kickboxer, he's always going to be up against the guy who's a master at boxing. I don't think he's got a chance at all.
Yeah, brilliant. Shane, appreciate the time as always. That was a good speech. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Turning toward the title situation, Aid Oladipo sounded surprised that Oleksandr Usyk against Rico Verhoeven appeared connected only to the WBC belt. Oladipo also questioned whether other sanctioning bodies refused involvement while the heavyweight division waited behind another crossover spectacle.
I don't think there's ever been a heavyweight title fight in Egypt. I don't think there's been a title fight in Egypt. He will take on the kickboxer Rico Verhoeven. Yeah, that's happening. You know what's interesting? What I've just seen here. It says Oleksandr Usyk versus Rico Verhoeven for the WBC heavyweight title. It doesn't say anything about the other belts. Obviously, Fabio Wardley is the WBO champion. So what's the situation with the IBF and the WBA? Is Oleksandr Usyk vacating them? Did those sanctioning bodies not agree to this? Maybe the latter, right? Yeah, this is wild.
Focusing on the technical battle itself, the sports analyst expected Rico Verhoeven to create awkward offensive moments early because of the unusual timing and patterns he carried over from kickboxing. Even so, the analyst still believed Oleksandr Usyk's control of distance and mastery of range would eventually become the decisive difference in the fight.
Rico will throw differently. He's not an orthodox boxer, is he? So I think from an offensive point of view, it will be interesting to see how he throws his shots. I think his chances are early in this fight, as early as possible, rounds 1, 2, and 3, whilst Usyk is trying to figure out those patterns. I think from a defensive point of view, mate, I think he's going to struggle with range. We're talking about a kickboxer here. Anybody that's done any of this, whether you've been on the mats, done a bit of sparring or whatever, you'll know full well that kickboxing range and boxing range are two completely different ranges. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people with, one, his technical ability and how tough he is, but ultimately, this is a massive, massive task. The odds are absolutely bang on, you're right.
The closer this crossover fight gets, the more divided combat sports becomes over whether Rico Verhoeven can truly compete with Oleksandr Usyk inside a boxing ring. Questions around range, timing, and experience continue shaping every prediction surrounding the matchup. Now the attention turns toward whether Usyk once again proves why so many already place him among heavyweight boxing's all-time greats. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment with your prediction below.